All this week, WMFE is examining the constitutional amendments that Florida voters will choose. Today, we look at Amendment 4, which critics say would put an end to citizen-led amendments to the Florida Constitution. 90.7's Abe Abaraya has the story.
Florida is one of 18 states where citizens can put a constitutional amendment on the ballot. In a state marked by one-party rule in the legislature and governor's mansion, constitutional amendments are a form of direct democracy for issues that are popular among voters but unpopular among lawmakers.
Amendment 2, the majority of Floridians backing the fight for medical marijuana.
Would force lawmakers to draw their legislative and congressional districts in a way that doesn't favor either political party.
Has been Amendment 4, which would restore voting rights to felons. This affects over
The current threshold to amend Florida's constitution is pretty high. Groups have to get signatures from 8% of the number of voters who cast a ballot in the last presidential election, spread out geographically across the state. That's almost 750,000 signatures. Once on the ballot, a supermajority of voters, 60%, must approve a constitutional amendment for it to become part of Florida's constitution. If approved, Amendment 4 would add yet another hurdle. Voters would have to approve a constitutional amendment twice in 2 consecutive elections for it to take effect. Jason Zimmerman is an attorney representing the sponsor Keep Our Constitution Clean, which put the amendment on the ballot. He says groups are amending the Constitution rather than going through the legislature and passing laws.
If this is something so important, we should amend the Constitution, do it twice. This constitutional amendment should not be done fly by night.
So is it too easy to amend Florida's Constitution? UCF professor Aubrey Jewett should know. He wrote the textbook on politics in Florida. From 1972 to 2002, voters approved constitutional amendments 2 out of 3 times. In the last 20 years or so, voters approved them even more frequently, 4 out of 5 times. But there are fewer amendments making it before voters, but those that do get on the ballot are doing better. Jewett says personally, he supported making it a supermajority of 60% for amending the Constitution. But now he worries the pendulum is swinging too far in the other direction.
I'm a little concerned that maybe we're now approaching the point where we're making it a little more, maybe making it a little too difficult for people to exercise direct democracy.
There's another twist to Amendment 4. It's not clear who is funding it. Keep Our Constitution Clean spent nearly $9 million in so-called dark money getting the signatures to be on the ballot. But Orlando Sentinel reporter Jason Garcia has found a series of links between Keep Our Constitution Clean and Associated Industries of Florida through a third-party group. AIF is an influential lobbying group headed by former Central Florida Congressman Tom Feeney. AIF's membership is a Rolodex of Florida's biggest companies, from Walt Disney World to Florida Power and Light to U.S. Sugar Corp.
Businesses have been upset by a number of petition drives over the years, and there has been a concerted, strategic, and coordinated effort by business lobbying groups since the early 2000s to make this process more difficult.
Zimmerman, with Keep Our Constitution Clean, denies that AIF is bankrolling Amendment 4, but he also declines to say who is funding it. He argues that who is funding Amendment 4 doesn't matter because people know what the amendment would do.
Why does the motive of 1 or 2 people matter when we're looking at what the amendment actually does?
There haven't been recent polls on Amendment 4, but 2019 polls show about half of voters support it, short of the needed 60%. I'm Abe Abaraya in Orlando.